Hello friends, welcome to EPG Pathshala. I am Dr. Rajinder Singh, Assistant Professor, Department of Commerce, Shivaji College, Delhi University. In this module, we will discuss about organizational communication. Outline of this module is learning objectives, introduction, directions of communication flow, informal communication, rumors, oral communication, written communication, gestural or non-verbal communication, communication networks, barriers to effective communication, principles of effective communication, and summary. Objectives of this module are to develop understanding of various types of organizational communication, to understand various communication networks, and to understand barriers to and principles of organizational communication. First of all, introduction. Meaning, nature, importance and objectives of organizational communication has been discussed in previous module. This module deals with various types of and directions of communications. Various types of communication networks, barriers to effective communication and principles of effective communication have also been discussed in this module. Now, directions of communication flow. First one is formal communication. Formal communication can be further divided on the basis of direction of flow in the organization. It may be downward, upward, horizontal and diagonal communication. Now we will discuss about downward communication. It is the communication that flows from the higher position to the lower positions in the hierarchy in the organization. It is the most important one in the organization. The important messages which flow downwards include policies, orders, directions, decisions, rules and regulations through notices, circulars, manuals, memos, etc. Apart from this, feedback to employees about their performance may also be communicated. This communication may be written or oral too. Seniors are the senders and the subordinates are the receivers of the message in downward communication. Downward communication is the backbone of any organization which ensures that each and every employee gets timely informed about his work and responsibilities. It is used to convey the employee at every level in the organization about its expectations from them. Following is the importance of downward communication. First one is employees are well informed. Second, it helps in day-to-day working of the organization. Third, it is used as future reference. Fourth, responsibilities can be fixed. And fifth, it brings role clarity and minimizes misunderstandings. Next is upward communication. Upward communication refers to flow of communication from lower position to higher position of the hierarchy in the organization. Subordinates are the sender and the superiors are the receivers of the message in upward communication. Formal upward communication is primarily in the nature of feedbacks. Apart from this, suggestions, requisitions, applications or complaints are also forms of upward communication. Periodic reports are the main media of upward communication. These reports carry generally the information about the performance of the employees. Upward communication is also equally important as it completes the process of communication by making it two ways. Upward communication is also important as the top management keeps itself informed through it about the working of the organization. The information about the implementation of the decisions and compliance to the directions and orders also reaches to the superiors through upward communication only. It also makes the employees feel important when they are given scope to communicate their feelings to the superiors. Next is horizontal communication. Apart from the vertical communication, that is downward and upward, there exists horizontal communication too in the organization. It is the flow of communication between two employees in the organization at the same level in the hierarchy. It is very important to ensure coordination and cooperation between various departments, units or branches of the organization. Communication between the heads of two different plants of the same company will be horizontal communication because they enjoy same status within the organization. It is also known as lateral communication. In horizontal communication, the receiver and the sender generally exchange ideas, knowledge, information through meetings, conferences, or through other media like telephone, internet, etc. Next is diagonal communication. It is a type of communication which takes place between two persons holding position at different levels in different departments. This type of communication is not very common and occurs only in special circumstances. Informal communication. Informal communication is also called as grapevine. As discussed earlier, social needs of the employees are not satisfied by the formal communication. The routine nature of formal communication brings monotony in the interaction between the individuals. All this leads to the emergence of informal communication within the organization. Informal communication is something which is not officially established or planned, but it originates out of some needs of employees which are not satisfied by the formal information system. It does not follow the channels or chains which are defined by the organization. It is also referred to as grapevine because like grapevine it is very difficult to find the source of chain of informal communication. There are different views about the impact of informal communication on the working of employees in the organization. Sometimes informal channels are deliberately used by the managers to gather the required information when it is difficult to get it through the formal channels because of communication barriers. Generally, informal communication is resorted at as a social and normal activity. It is the human behavior to make relations with others. Below discussed features of informal communication will give a more detailed view of it. Now, the features of informal communication. First one is automatic creation. Informal communication channels get created automatically. They are not official. They are created to cater to those needs of the members of the organization which are not fulfilled by the formal communication system. Then it is free from formalities. Rules and regulations of the organization don't apply on informal communication. Message may take any path in this system to reach from the sender to the receiver. Moreover, all types of messages, official or personal, are routed through informal channels of communication. Then no record. Most of the times informal communication is oral in nature. Thus, it is very difficult to maintain record for future reference. Next is spontaneous. Informal communication is not planned. It is not of routine nature. It is spontaneous. Any message may get viral in a very short period of time. Next is uncertain direction. Informal communication can flow in any direction. That is why they are called grapevines. Informal communication is used to serve the personal interest of the people involved in the informal chain or the group. It need not follow the hierarchical channels of the organization. Now we will discuss advantages of informal communication. First one is speed. Message travels very fast in informal communication system because of absence of channel barriers, especially in the present era of social networking and social media. Any information gets circulated at a very fast speed with no limits of geographical area. Second is satisfaction of social needs. Social needs of the employees are satisfied with informal communication only. Informal groups emerge within the organization because socialization may not be possible in formal communication system. Human relations get better through informal communication. Next is flexibility. Channels of informal communications are not rigid. They are free from all the formalities. Thus, there is always a scope for the flexibilities. Next is cooperation. Personal relations improve with the help of informal communication. Thus, interpersonal and intergroup cooperation is improved. Personal bonding. Creation of informal groups makes the working environment interesting. Workers like to work in such organizations where informal relationships are not suppressed by the management. Informal communication helps in breaking the monotony of routine work. It reduces the boredom. Then comes it removes gaps of formal communication. Because of being flexible and personal in nature, it helps to cover the gaps which may be there in formal communication. There are some disadvantages of informal communication also. First one is distortion of message. Original message gets distorted in informal communication system because no rules and regulations apply to it. Informal communication is mostly oral and takes undefined path. This makes it difficult to keep the message in its original form. Then difficult to fix accountability. It is almost impossible to keep records of informal communication. Thus, accountabilities cannot be fixed in future. It may be very difficult to trace the source of any information. Next is no control over rumors. Rumors are very easily spread with channels of informal communication. Because of lack of control over the channels, it is difficult to control the rumors. It is sometimes harmful for the organization when some wrong news is spread and the organization is not able to control it. Then leakage of confidential information. Sometimes confidential information gets leaked through informal channels which may harm the interest of organization. It may lead to insider trading also. Next is unreliable. Most of the times information routed through the informal channels are not reliable. They are not given importance while taking official decisions of the organization until and unless they are confirmed through the formal channels. However, sometimes as a strategy, some managers may resort to the informal channels to get some information which may not be possible to access through formal channels. Next, we will discuss about rumors. Rumor is information which is unauthentic, without evidence, generally wrong, and source is not known. It spreads through informal channels at a very fast speed. Rumors in organization are generally result of uncertainty and ambiguity in the minds of the employees. Rumors are sometimes spread to fulfill some malicious objectives or just as a mischief. In organization, they may also arise due to some misunderstanding or miscommunication too. The information spread through rumor is generally incorrect, which may turn out to be correct later. Social media these days has a major role in spreading rumors. People on social media forward the message without verifying its authenticity. The information is most likely to be distorted in rumors. Each and every person in the chain interprets and forwards the information in one's own way. Thus, the rumor is most dangerous type of grapevine. It may create an environment of fear and uncertainty in the organization. For example, a false message that the organization is going to do retrenchments in near future may spread a sense of fear in the mind of employees. Thus, it is very important for the organization to deal with the rumors carefully. The best method of killing the wrong information which is being spread through informal and unauthentic channels is to spread the right information through the formal and authentic channels. Next is oral communication. Oral communication is a form of verbal communication. It occurs when the sender and the receiver talk to each other. It is not necessary to meet face to face to convey the message through oral communication. It may be through telephone, video conferencing, interviews, meetings, conference, etc. Oral communication has its own advantages. There are less chances of misunderstanding or miscommunication in oral communication because the feedback can be received, and if there is any doubt, it can be cleared immediately. Moreover, communication through this method is very fast, but at the same time, there are some disadvantages too. There is no record of oral communication, thus, it is difficult to use it as future reference. It may not be possible to communicate orally from distant places if telephone or internet facility is not available. Next is written communication. Written communication is another mode of communication. This mode is considered as most reliable because a record of communication is maintained for future references. It is possible to fix responsibilities if the message has been transmitted in written form. Most of the formal communication in the organizations occurs in written form. Written message is more effective in the sense that it may be drafted after due thought, but this may delay the communication too. Written communication is slower than the oral communication. Moreover, it is quite expensive too because it involves a lot of paperwork. It also lacks the personal touch which is there in oral communication. Immediate feedback too is not possible. Notices, manuals, letters, emails, circulars, etc. are some media of written communication. Next is gestural or non-verbal communication. It is also known as body language or communication by actions. The sender uses various body movements, postures, or actions to pass the message to the receiver. Sometimes feedbacks are in the form of gestural communication. For example, moving the head from up to down is considered to be the sign of a yes. Most of the times, gestural communication is used in combination with oral communication to make the latter more effective. Facial expressions, movement of hand and head, movement, wink or blink of eyes, etc. are some common gestures which are used to communicate some messages. Now we will discuss about communication networks. Every channel of communication follows a certain pattern for flow of message. It depends on number of members in the chain, nature of message, nature of relationship among the members, the speed required and the objective of the communication, etc. The type of network thus has a great impact on the speed, flow and accuracy of the message. There are more chances of distortion in a lengthy network and of blockage in case of a narrow network. Following are some types of communication networks. First is chain network. It is used in case of vertical communication channel. The flow of communication is downward or upwards only. The message reaches from the sender to the receiver through the intermediaries, following the principle of scalar chain. It is used for formal communication between the superior and subordinates in the organization. Second is circular network. In this type of network, the message follows a circular path. The communication through this network is quite slow. Each of the members may communicate with only two other persons on both of his sides. Then third is wheel network. It is like a hub where too many subordinates report to one superior. All the information passes through one central authority. For example, in a sales team, all the team members receive instructions from and report to their team leader. The team leader becomes the hub of the wheel in this communication network. Fourth one is all channel network. In this type of network, there is no particular direction or pattern of flow of the message. It is more of an informal communication channel. Everybody can communicate with everybody, maybe randomly or maybe selectively, depending on the convenience or preference. Rumors are spread through this network. The speed of communication is very fast and members get maximum satisfaction in this network. Next we will discuss barriers to effective communication. First one is language. It is difficult to communicate if the receiver does not understand the language of the sender. It may happen both in oral and written communication. Even if the language is known, clear pronunciation is also very important for effective communication, especially in oral communication. Next is status bar. Difference between the status of sender and the receiver may create obstacle in effective communication. Subordinate may hesitate while speaking to his superior about his feelings or sharing his views. There may also be a tendency to convey distorted information to the superior to please him or to avoid his anger. Next one is distance. Physical distance between the receiver and the sender may also hinder the communication, but nowadays with the frequent use of internet, this barrier has been removed to a great extent. Still, advantage of oral or face-to-face communication is difficult from far places. Next is semantic barrier. This is related to the encoding and decoding of the message. The same symbol may carry different meanings for the sender and the receiver. It leads to wrong understanding by the receiver and distorts the message. Then lack of attention. When the receiver does not pay attention to the message, the communication fails. This inattention may be intentional when the receiver considers the message unnecessary or not interesting, or may be unintentional because of the circumstances. For example, oral communication may fail at a noisy place. Next is premature evaluation. This barrier occurs at the end of the receiver. Sometimes the receiver reaches at the conclusion even before receiving the complete message. This may be because of lack of interest in the message, because of hurry, and sometimes over smartness too. Then overburden. If the receiver is overburdened with the work and is getting too much of information, some of them may be neglected. It may not be possible for the receiver to pay attention to or give feedback of all the messages he gets. It reduces the effectiveness of communication. Next is faulty channels of communication. Sometimes the organizational structure and the channels of formal communication itself are not effective for communication. If the channel is too lengthy or there are many intermediaries between the sender and the ultimate receiver, the message may get delayed or distorted. Lack of flexibility in formal communication channels too reduces the effectiveness of communication. Next are the principles of effective communication. First is principle of clarity. Clarity of the message is most important principle. The message should be understandable in its original sense. Clarity of the message can be ensured by selecting the right language which the receiver understands. Written message is considered to have more clarity than the oral one. Efforts should be made to remove all the ambiguities. Second is principle of attention. Attention of the receiver must be secured during the communication. Inattention of the receiver is one of the major barriers to the communication. Receiver should be of open mind and empathetic while receiving the message. The sender must ensure that the message is not irrelevant. Next is principle of completeness. The message should be complete and adequate. Incomplete information may mislead the receiver and creates misunderstanding and ambiguity. It may lead to faulty decision making. Then principle of feedback. Feedback is very important element of communication. It completes the process of communication and ensures that the receiver has received and rightly understood the message. It reduces the chances of misunderstanding and ambiguity. Next is principle of timeliness. Delayed communication may reduce its importance. The information should reach the destination when it is required. Media of communication is very important as far as the timeliness is concerned. Thus, media should be selected very carefully. Next is principle of consistency. The message should be in consistency with the plans, policies, and objectives and should be relevant to the working of the organization. Irrelevant message and information creates confusions and reduces the importance and effectiveness of communication. Last is principle of integrity. Communication should be aimed at ensuring the integrity in the organization. Mutual trust between the superiors and the subordinates is necessary for effective communication. Management rely upon the response from the employees for decision making. Thus, the integrity of the employees as part of communication process is a must. Now to summarize this module, we can say that formal communication can be divided on the basis of direction of flow in the organization. It may be downward, upward, horizontal and diagonal communication. The routine nature of formal communication brings monotony in the interaction between the individuals. This leads to the emergence of informal communication within the organization. Informal communication emerges automatically and it does not follow the formal channels of communication. It has some advantages like speed and flexibility and disadvantages like distortion of original message and difficulty in fixation of responsibility. It is very difficult to control the rumors in informal communication. Rumors is information which is unauthentic, without evidence, generally wrong and source is not known. It spreads through informal channel at a very fast speed. Communication has different modes like oral, written, gestural, etc. Communication has various types of networks like chain, circular, wheel and all channel, etc. Effective communication is subject to various barriers like language, status, distance and faulty channels, and there are various principles of effective communication like clarity, attention, completeness, feedback, timeliness, consistency and integrity, etc. Thank you.